My purpose for my practicum was to increase my public health knowledge in a way that's applicable to the workforce and to the communities around me who are in need. I completed my practicum with Greenville Health System, a hospital in Greenville, South Carolina, and I began by contacting the Children's Hospital Outreach Program to see if I could work with them, and my preceptor, Carrie McKenzie, seemed extremely happy to have a volunteer for the summer. So I began by learning her job and accompanying her to the different things that she does every day. The first part of my summer was spent by attending prenatal clinics and well baby clinics for 6, 9, and 12-month-old babies. I also attended other meetings around Greenville with Live Well Greenville and Head Start, the YMCA, and different nonprofit organizations to collaborate and to share techniques and um, resources so that our common goal of lowering childhood obesity rates could be more easily accomplished. After becoming familiar with these clinics, I began to lead the clinics without my preceptor, which was one of my favorite parts of the practicum because it gave me valuable hands-on work experience that I can use in job interviews and applications and actually in the workforce later on. I became more and more comfortable with public speaking and with the information that I was teaching, and I actually created handouts to give the mothers at each well baby visit with different takeaways and recipes and reminders and food lists for their babies at each stage. The clinics were all for mothers and mothers-to-be who are on welfare. So I was working with low-income families, many of whom were either African American or Hispanic, and I came to love these women and this population, and I've grown really attached to helping this population. Most of the mothers I worked with were very eager to learn and eager to share their accomplishments and to share their joys and their struggles and what they were going through with their babies or their pregnancy. The difficult part of working in these clinics is that there wasn't really a way to collect pre or post data since I saw each group of women once, since they come for the well baby visits every 3 months. So after realizing that neither of these clinics were going to be easy to evaluate and complete a project with, I branched out to see what else I could do as my main project for the practicum. Since I had been attending meetings with Head Start Center directors and I was already familiar with their locations and practices, my preceptor and I decided that I should work with one particular low-income Head Start Center and work with the children. My preceptor brought Greenville Health System a program called Choosy Kids, which teaches kids ages 3 to 5 about nutrition and dental and safety information. The program is extremely developed, from the animated character Choosy to the material available. There's CDs in English and Spanish, and t-shirts, stickers, stuffed animals, posters, coloring sheets. There's a lot in this program, and it's pretty widespread. It's used in all Greenville County schools and in Head Start centers for children ages 3 to 5. But since it's only for children ages 3 to 5, children in Head Start centers that are 6 through 12 don't have access to the program. So for this reason, I decided to work with children in a Head Start center in a low-income area of town, ages 6 through 12. I decided to give the children a pre-test with nutrition, dental, and safety questions, and I decided that I would educate the children through informal lesson plans and handouts and by playing games with them. I ended up visiting this Head Start Center for about 5 weeks, and since the children were 6 through 12 years old, I had to create a pretest that was suitable for 6-year-olds who couldn't read yet, but that wouldn't be too easy for 12-year-olds. So I took some information from Go Slow Wo's website and some information from online quizzes and games, but I created most of the questions myself. Um, the test was 22 questions long and had 12 nutrition questions, 5 dental questions, and 5 safety questions. I focused on nutrition and included more nutrition questions because my Master of Public Health cognates nutrition and I wanted to focus on nutrition. So at first I just got to know the children and absolutely fell in love with them. And I started by giving them handouts that I found online, actually from Drexel University. And some handouts had children name as many fruits and vegetables as they could of each color. Some had them take foods from a food bank or foods and drinks from a food bank and drag it into the correct category. And some had the children try to name the fruits or vegetables that were listed on the handout by picture. And then compare it with a list of candy bars that they could name to see if they could name more candy bars than they could fruits and vegetables, which they could. So it was kind of a fun learning experience to see where they needed to learn, and the children really had fun with it. And while they were completing their handouts, I always encouraged the children to help each other and to talk out loud so that they heard as many correct answers as possible. talking out loud encouraged them to stay focused and competitive so that their classmates didn't get more correct answers than they did. And I had an adult stationed at each table to make sure that the children stayed on task and to be able to assist if the children needed help or if they were misunderstanding a concept. Adults were also able to help the younger children read and write. And for the handouts, I used the 12-year-olds to help the younger children read and write because they weren't too interested in participating at the beginning, so I kind of used them as an information source and as a leader so that they felt valuable, and it worked. They were participating, and they really seemed to value their positions as the older helpers in the group. Um, I didn't have any trouble getting the children to listen or be interested. They seemed very eager to have adult interaction, especially positive adult interaction. So whatever I asked them to do, they did it, and they enjoyed it, and they seemed very interested in learning. Um, I played games with the children to teach them dental and safety information and to reinforce the nutrition information that we learned from the handouts. I wanted to make sure that for the sake of validity, I didn't just give them the pretest, test or quiz them and educate them on the 22 questions and then retest them. I wanted to make sure that they had a well-rounded breadth of knowledge and that they had to actually remember and apply what they learned with me. We played a tag game called Dragon Tales where they had to grab flags out of each other's back pockets and chase each other, and once their flags were taken, they had to run back over to me and answer a couple nutrition questions or safety questions or dental questions before they could re-enter the game. And I always had a couple of children lined up, so they all heard each other's answers, and they loved this game. They were really, really competitive, and they actually asked me if I could quiz them when we were swinging and just sitting down talking so that they could practice and they could show off and beat their classmates next time. And I saw a marked improvement from the first time that we played this game when they didn't know the answers to any questions and the last time that we played this game where almost every single child knew every question that I asked them. So after 5 weeks, I gave the children the post-test, and I had an adult stationed at each table. I didn't use older children this time, just adults. To help with reading and writing, because I'm afraid that when I used older children to help on the pretest, they may have helped with a couple of the answers after reading some of the 6-year-olds' tests. So I had the adults read and write for some of the younger children, and then I used SPSS to perform a matched pairs t-test to see if the difference in scores were significant. I analyzed the test as a whole, and then I broke it down into sections of the nutrition section, the dental section, and the safety section. The test as a whole was significantly higher when the children took it the second time, and the dental and the safety sections were significantly higher. The nutrition section, interestingly enough, was not significantly higher, although the mean went from 16.5 to 18. I think the fact that these children were able to learn so much only over 5 weeks shows that these children would significantly benefit from Head Start Center's use of a nutrition curriculum or program over the summers with these children. The kids were so eager for adult interaction and praise that it would be a great idea to incorporate positive adult interaction with education instead of just play and free time. Obviously, there are so many limitations to this study. The fact that there's only 13 students involved, and it's not able to be generalized to the population, but I think it can be used to lead to other studies, and for this Head Start Center in particular to do something over the summer with these children to educate them and to have adult interaction. If I could redo the practicum, I would add more safety and dental questions so that it wasn't so easy to significantly improve scores on the post-test. And I would also make sure that only adults help the children read for the pre-test to avoid any potential that the older children help the younger children with the answers. I absolutely loved these children, and working with them was an experience that I will never forget, and I plan on volunteering with the same Head Start Center next summer just so that I can keep in touch with these children. So overall, I think it was an amazing experience. It was definitely educational, and I think it was beneficial to everybody who was involved, me, the children, the hospital, and the women I worked with at the clinics.